Welcome to the latest Wax Ecstatic video. Notice I called it video and not pack break because a lot of these cards we're going to talk about today, well, they've already been broken into, but that's okay. We're going to be taking a look at, this week, the history of traded and update sets and rookies sets. We'll get into that in great depth, and I'll show you some examples here in just a few seconds. But first, I want to point out, if you're watching this video, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is the new Wax Ecstatic YouTube channel. If you subscribe to the previous channel, that was a channel created off of my own personal Gmail address. You'll notice if you look at the YouTube page, this page is linked to a waxandgumstains@gmail.com. So we've got new email for you, new YouTube page as well. So make sure you subscribe to this eBay page or this YouTube page, not eBay. We're not selling anything yet, but make sure you subscribe to this YouTube page and unsubscribe the previous one, unless you want to, look at my videos of my family or whatever, which is kind of creepy. All right, so let's get into the traded cards. As we'll discuss on this week's show, there has always been some kind of a traded or an update card going back even to the turn of the century. And I don't mean the year 2000, I'm talking the early 1900s. But the traded set became a real thing actually starting in 1972, and we'll explain why the Topps Chewing Gum Company decided to update several cards in the 1972 set, which then continued in 1974. And I've got a whole sheet full of 74 Topps traded cards. I got a few others in my binder, but this was how the traded cards were treated back in the early days when it was created for a commercial purpose. It not only helped you see who got traded during the off season, but it was also something that was made to supplement your factory set. So I'm going to use this Juan Marichal card, for example. Of course, the longtime member of the San Francisco Giants, traded to the Boston Red Sox before the start of the 1974 season. And if you notice here in the corner, you see card number 330T. So the T, of course, denotes that it is traded, but the 330, that correlates with the regular factory set, the base set card number. So the idea was you would take your brand new first ever factory set, a complete set that was made by the Topps factory that became available in 1974, and behind the San Francisco Giants Juan Marichal card, you could drop card number 330T right behind it. And you can see that's how it happens with all of these cards here. Now, you'll also see that Topps had some fun with this. For example, let's see, Eddie Watt here, a pitcher traded to the Phillies. The headline, this kind of faux newspaper look, Watt's new for Phillies. Boom, gee. Juan Marichal, for example. Marichal makes Bo Sox wonderful. So they had some fun with this, with some really terrible dad jokes. But that's how it started, as a nice compliment to the new idea, the new creation of the factory sets. They continue this in 1976 as well. Similar treatment, except the 76 Topps cards. I forgot to grab some before I started this video, but I've got a few. You've seen it. The Oscar Gamble one is the most famous one, of course, where, much like these 74 cards, the player's hat is airbrushed, or he's pictured with no hat at all. And you've got that newspaper treatment down here, plus the story on the back. Well, something changed in 1981, and it's called competition. Topps decided to make the traded set a permanent set. In fact, it was no longer a card that you would drop in behind the base set card. It was now an extension to the base set. So Topps had 726 cards in the 81 set, and now some competition from Fleer and Donruss. So they decided to extend the base set an additional 132 cards. And they, of course, updated the cards of players who have been traded. Gaylord Perry, who had certainly put on a lot of miles and a lot of teams in his career. Here's his 81 Topps traded card, and you can tell it's traded because of the high number in that set. 812 clearly above 726. And then you can count the many ways that Gaylord Perry had been traded up until 1981 and his season with the Atlanta Braves. Now, as we'll also discuss, starting in the early 80s, the traded set became less of an accounting of players who have been traded and really became more of a first set for many rookie cards. Take, for example, the 1984 Topps traded set, where you could get your hands on the rookie card for Brett Saberhagen. And you can see how Topps treated this card differently than the regular set, using a thicker, brighter white cardstock as opposed to the usual gray cardstock that was used in years past. And instead of just merely extending the set, they decided to make this a separate set here, giving it its own number and the T designation once again. Now, as Topps was doing this, and here's a couple other examples. These are 1986 Topps traded cards. John Kruk, one of the biggest rookie cards you would have been looking for in the summer of '86. Wally Joyner, again, different treatment with the numbers, the white card stock. The cards would pop a lot more this way. And Topps organized these in alphabetical order. So the Joyner card actually came a couple of steps ahead of John Kruk. Now, while Topps was making a big deal of this, basically changing the traded set from a traded register to a rookie hotbed, well, the competition was doing that as well. All right, here's the 86 Topps traded Wally Joyner. Here's the 86 Donruss Rookies Wally Joyner. And the rookie set was, as the name implies, it was all rookies. Donruss didn't care about who got traded from one team to another, and in fact, many collectors didn't. So they capitalized on the whole rookie craze that was going on then. And you'll see that Donruss basically took their normal design and just gave it a little gloss. Let me hold it up there. Yeah, see the gloss on there. And then they would change the colors. So the base set for 86 Donruss had that blue and black background. This time you have this kind of emerald green background. Same thing with the back of the card. It was more of an aqua green as opposed to the dark blue that Donruss was using for the base set. And how big of a rookie was Wally Joyner? Card number 1. I mean, this was the guy that as soon as you opened the box, you saw Wally World smiling back at you. Other companies were getting into the mix as well. Starting in 1984, Fleer introduced the update set, which would often scoop Topps with big rookies such as Kirby Puckett, Roger Clemens. Now, this is not a big rookie, of course. This is from 1987. Reggie Jackson at the end of the road going back to Oakland. Again, high gloss here, a different designation U49 to designate that it was the update set, and then the many career accomplishments of one Reginald Jackson. Another example here of Donruss, the rookies. Here's Matt Williams. Now, how does this compare to the 87 Topps traded Matt Williams? Let's open this bad boy up. I've had the 87 Topps traded set for a very long time. It's well worn because even as a teenager I was pulling these cards out of the box and looking at it, even though I probably shouldn't have. But here you go. Here's Matt Williams, Donruss rookies. Again, the green treatment as opposed to the black treatment around the border in 1987. Donruss keeping the same backs of the cards, same look and feel, while the Topps traded version in 1987 features pretty much a similar look, and again, just like the 86, very similar design, just a thicker, lighter white cardstock and the traded designation. Now, Topps continued with the traded look and feel, but at the same time, again, you know, very few people really cared about, okay, what team has Tim Leary been traded to, or what team has, let's see, Craig Nettles, who is he with now? No, you were looking for these bad boys. You were looking for the Greg Maddux rookie card or the Fred McGriff rookie card. So what? Yeah. Oh, Dave Meads is on the move, and oh look, Gary Renicky, he's with Atlanta now. So the emphasis started going away from who was traded where, like Bill Ullman, to the emphasis on the rookies. But also a big difference in the sets that were being produced at the time was the quality. So let's take a look at 88 Topps real quickly. So when you open up the box, you can see that these cards bowed, and that was a problem with Topps because they were using that higher quality white cardstock. The cards over time would start getting this curve in them, which, you know, you'd have to flatten them out after you put them into your plastic pages here. So there's a little bit of a problem with that. And even though there were some, you know, nice high quality cards here and some big rookies that were being introduced into the hobby, you know, there was quality control and collectors didn't like it. So in comes Upper Deck, and Upper Deck gets into the traded and update and rookie craze with their high series numbers. Now this is the 1990 Upper Deck Joe Carter card. This was after he was traded from Cleveland to San Diego. So if you got a base set Upper Deck card of Joe Carter from earlier that season, you had Joe Carter in his Indians uniform. Well, here you have Joe just living it up on the bench in San Diego. And the usual high quality that you would expect from Upper Deck, but much like the original Topps release, a higher number. The base set went up to card number 700. The high series for Upper Deck went from 701 to 800. So you take a look at this very nice, high quality Upper Deck Joe Carter card, and then you compare it to, again, 88 Topps, the Boeing. It just kind of looks average. You could see how the game was being raised. And that takes us to our last look here, Pinnacle Rookies. And this is a great example here of, you know, first of all, having a smaller set. So rather than 132 cards, you've got only 30. It's focused totally on rookies, which of course Pinnacle and Score totally stole from Donruss. But look at this packaging. Now, it was originally wrapped in plastic. I took it off so that you could see it. And even the plastic can't stop the damage. Okay, this box has been around the block a few times. But look at how this box opens. As opposed to, you know, the Topps Traded where you just flip the top and pull your cards out. Look at this. It's like a diamond ring, or at least expensive breath mints. And here you have the styrofoam jam in an attempt to protect your cards. And like I said, this box has been dropped, so there's a couple of dings in here. But you've got the styrofoam jam on the back as well. And then look at the glossiness, the high quality. And of course, because this was 1992, you had to have some gold foil in there somewhere. But, you know, look at just how incredibly beautifully designed these cards were. 1 of 30. This number gold embossed as well. There's hardly any stats here. It's just all pictures, graphics, and colors. It really is a thing of beauty. So even if it was an up-and-coming player like Denny Nagel was at the time, Donovan Osborne, Mark Wohlers, these were all high attention rookies, or Eric Karros, that would have been a big one in 1992, or maybe somebody who just kind of got lost through the sands of time. Frank Seminara, for example. Let's see who else. We've talked about Dave Nilsson, Carlos Hernandez. They still got this world-class treatment with these incredible cards. Quite the difference from when the traded cards first came out and were used for commercial purposes and how they were eventually sharpened up and gussied up less than 20 years later. So we're going to take a look at 3 of these players featured. We're going to start in this podcast with the man in the middle square there. No, not Paul Lind. Somebody liked my Paul Lind impression. No, it's not Paul Lind. It's Steve Stone. So we'll talk about Steve Stone. Let's see. Let's grab one of the cards from the mid-'80s here. Let's talk about Blackjack McDowell in this podcast as well. And then let's grab one of the more recent ones here from the 1992 Rookies set. We all know about what Pat Mahomes' son has done. We'll update you on Pat Mahomes Sr., give you a little bit of backstory on him. So whether it's nice glossy cards of rookies or updated Hall of Famers or just something to supplement the base set, there's a lot of history behind the traded and update cards. We'll talk about that history on this Friday's podcast. That is Friday, March the 12th at noon Eastern. I'm Matt Sammon. Thanks for watching this Wax Ecstatic video.